Now, one thing we can do is if I actually search for Legion of the Seraphim, which is my guild. Only 2 people are online, and neither of them are names of officers or their alts, which is a shame. Because if you have an alt, one of the first things you probably should do is get them into a guild. Because by having them in your guild, first of all, you get the social interaction with people. You get people that might want to level with you or boost you, which is great. I'm not going to do any boosting in this because I'm not a big fan of cheating in games. But, I mean, it's not cheating, definitely. Because it's something that's very easy to do, and it's just, you know, it's a part of the game that is perfectly acceptable because someone has to have done it to go past it, so that's perfectly fair. I'm currently talking about boosting through instances by having a really high level, like a level 100, just blow up a level 10 instance for you to get a bunch of experience, but generally that isn't necessary. Also, as a monk, just a side note, if you try and roll underwater, it doesn't work as well, so we're just going to go through here. It's a Tauren. Oh, this is actually something that I've noticed. You can actually pretty easily go to a different starting area instead of your own, which is understandable. A lot of Tauren actually do that. I'm just going to leave the general and local defense channels just because I want to play in solitary peace and quiet. So we'll go through here and keep an eye out for any role players. Now, I'm actually on a connected server with a couple of role-playing servers. The server that I'm on is a role-playing server. Now, if you don't know what roleplay is, then it's basically the act of actually being in character. So you would... for instance, if I was role-playing as Sweegie here, I would role-play myself as a monk, you know? Someone who is trying to learn the ways of a monk and is exploring as an adventurer and things like that. And that is perfectly acceptable. One of the things you need to do when you're leveling up is you want to avoid role-players. You want to make sure that you don't cause any problems with them. So we're just going to quickly grab fishing over there, and we want to avoid this priest over here. This priest is happily leveling up and doing his thing. So we will just try and avoid him for now. And we'll just go over here. One thing that we could very easily do right now is we could group up with this guy. Not really that necessary at the moment because there's plenty of surf crawlers to go around, especially considering there's a whole bunch in the water. I'm going to leave him some of the ones near the water's edge here. I just want to see if he tries and snipes this one from me. Now, this is actually a thing, if you don't know about it, that's quite common in leveling, is players will attempt to snipe the tap target. Now, tapping in World of Warcraft is, now that I've attacked the surf crawler, now it died really fast, but now that I've attacked it, it is tapped to me. You see that nameplate is grey over there? If I had attacked that surf crawler and helped this monk kill it, helped this priest kill it, then I wouldn't have got any XP or loot from it, which is bad because I need the experience to level up, and it's also bad because I need the loot to gather this crawler mucus. So very important that we don't attack tap targets unless, you know, the person who is fighting actually needs help or will die, which isn't going to happen at this level. So we've gathered the crawler mucus. As you can see, I'm trying to be as I'm trying to optimize it as much as I can, which was the word I was looking for. I started over here in the village, and I made my way down over here, and I'm going to start killing these things now. Now, these things are actually pretty difficult to get. There's not many of them, even for solo, so I'm actually going to invite him to the group before I attack this. Nope, he declined. Very well. I did all that I could, so I'm just going to go down here. Looks like he's not actually all that interested in doing it right now. Now, this is something that you should definitely consider doing. I'm just going to aggro this, attack this Northwatch infantryman. There's another one over here, but we're just going to kill all these things here. I'm just using my mouse and my keyboard to tab target between them and keep hitting things. Of course, I'm keybinding as much as I can as well. But like I said, it's very important that you try and be social in this game because sometimes there just isn't enough stuff to go around. So we're just going to go down here. As you can see, there's 2 players over here. They might be in a group. I don't know. But it definitely helps if you're in a group because you can share the taps between people, which is great. So we have run out, as you can see. There's another lug over there, but that's quite far away. So we're just going to head back this way and bugger up that roll a little bit. Let's head this way. Hopefully this troll rogue, it looks like she's leaving, so we only need these lugs. This will actually be enough, so we will hit you, and then hit you, and we're done, so we can head back now. But yeah, very important that you try and group up as much as you can, because otherwise you'll just end up struggling. We were able to grab quite a few lugs there for the Breaking the Chain quest, which required us to kill those boxes and the humans and dwarves carrying them. Normally, you have to do a little bit of waiting there. I don't know if they've actually changed that, but you want to avoid them. Sorry, you want to kill as many as you can, but groups help with that because if there's lots of people doing them and they're all tapping them individually, then that kind of sucks. Also, reason why I am avoiding these scorpids is because the next quest we're doing involves killing them. Well, yeah, it does involve killing them. You have to gather this toxin from them. So it's very important that we keep plenty of them alive for our next quest. So we're just going to hand in here. Just grab that. Basically what I do is when I know there's another quest coming, I just basically keep clicking until the window disappears. And I know there is another one up here. Now, before we leave, we are going to want to sell our stuff. Now, where can I find... This is actually a point I don't actually know. We're just going to roll through here. Okay, here we go. We want to find a vendor. Very important, every time you visit a town like this, you want to sell as much stuff as you can. Anything that has this golden coin at the top left of it means that it's for selling. Although you can sell a lot of the old armor that you get from questing up as well. So, make sure we do that. We won't go into professions just yet. We'll do that in the next town. And we'll just go over here to this clattering scorpion. Now, this is one thing we want to do. We don't want to kill this guy too fast. Now that we've gotten to about 40% health, we're going to stop. We're just going to let him hit us. Because now we want to put down this totem. There we go. And that will collect it for us. Now, oh, just aggroed a guard there. These are level 100 guards, I believe. Yeah, they'll completely destroy these guys. But yeah, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we... oh, don't want to kill that. We want to make sure we don't kill these things. And we want to use the totem to gather the venom. And if you didn't know that, it's very important that you read the quest text. So we will grab this. One thing we can actually do is we will go this way and we'll aggro 2 of them. So this we actually gather the first one because of the way that this works. Now this one is cast, so we'll grab that, and I'll explain what just happened. So it's very important that you understand the mechanics of how this works. Every time I put down the totem, I gain a buff that lasts for 15 seconds. As you can see, it's got 3, 2, 1. And then I put down the totem, I re-get the buff. So it's very... I reacquire the buff. It's very important that I note that, for instance, I aggro this guy and I start beating him down. Hopefully he casts it before I have to recast the totem. Looks like I'm just going to avoid it. Oh, I just got it. But what happened when I aggroed those 2 guys was I put down the totem, I got the buff, and then one of them cast while I still had the buff. And the other one cast it after I lost it. So, as I put down the totem, the original buff... we just dinged again, which is great. The original... Again, killing things, making sure we're keeping ahead of the curve here. The original buff allowed us to grab the first one, and then the second one was grabbed by the new buff. So, very important that you understand the mechanics there. So, what do we get? We got Blackout Cake. It's just a big hit. That's nice. So, it looks like this is going to be the one we're going to want to spam more than Tiger Palm. So, unfortunately, it looks like this place is pretty deserted. So, our speed may be coming to an end here, which is a bit of a shame. So we'll just head down here, and we'll grab these plans. Now, if you don't know where things like these plans are, we need to burn them. Then you want to open your map, and you want to actually see where they are on the map. And here's a trick you can do. If you scroll forward with the mouse wheel, you can zoom in. And we can see the next one is kind of on this little road and up here, and then this one just covers the whole valley. So that's good. Unfortunately, most of these enemies have despawned, which is a shame. It's a terrible shame, which means it's going to slow us down pretty significantly. But that's okay. We'll just burn this, and then we will roll our way forwards. Well, it seems like the people that were here before us have left. So by heading into the camp, we give the things in front of us, well, the things over there behind us, a chance to respawn. So we will hit you once, hit you twice, and then Blackout Kick for the kill. I have to say, I love the animations of the monk. I think they're just brilliant. And it is very important that you enjoy the animations of the class you're playing. So we'll just get our Tiger Palm buff going there. We have 2 chi, and we will open this fight with a Blackout Kick, taking off most of his health. Nice and simple. So we're just using our mechanics as much as we can, and being as optimized as we can. I don't want to mass pull too much here. We can take on these 2 guys, definitely. So we will just hit once, twice, use a Blackout Kick, use another Blackout Kick, hit, use another Blackout Kick. So I'm just using my rotation to the best of my effectiveness here. You want to build up your rotation and make sure you're using every spell in your toolkit all of the time. Like, you can happily just say, oh, I don't need to do all of this stuff because, you know, I can just auto-attack them all to death. Yeah, you can, but you want to be optimized about this, right? I'm remembering that word now. You want to be optimized. You want to make sure you're doing this to the best of your ability. It looks like these things still haven't respawned. We did kill them pretty fast, so hopefully some stuff near the entrance has respawned. So we will go over here. It looks like some of it has, so that's great. But yeah, it is very important that you optimize things as much as you can, because that way you level faster. So in case you don't know too much about the monk and you're very confused as to how this all works, if you see down here I have an energy bar and these 4 kind of little bubbles. Now these bubbles are chi. They are basically combo points. I gather them by using my number 1 ability, which is Jab. As you can see here, it just deals damage and generates 2 chi, which is great. That's what we want to see out of it. And then I spend that chi on my Blackout Kick, which is this one. So that's 1 Blackout Kick, 2 Blackout Kicks. And then I just gather some more chi. And my Tiger Palm, which is my 3 key, which does a little bit less damage, but gives me this buff that my attacks ignore 30% of my target's armor, which is great, because that means that by keeping this buff up, I can deal more damage to my enemies, which is great, because that means I can just kind of kill them with a couple of auto attacks, a jab, and a blackout kick. So now we're going to make our way back to Senjin Village, and we are just going to kill a couple of boars on our way there. We'll probably loot these guys as well, actually. Although they don't seem to drop too much, so it might not be too much of a big deal. It's also important to note, as you're doing this technique of killing things as you head to and from quest locations, you're going to want to consider, are the things I'm killing, so I'm not going to kill that, are the things I'm killing quest objectives? Because if they are, then am I screwing someone out of a quest objective, but just for a bit of experience? And it's very important to think of other people in this game, because it is a social game, and if you don't have any sense of teamwork, then you're just not going to do well in the whole game, which is just a terrible shame. For everyone, including you. So, we're going to be using our roll on cooldown here to keep ourselves moving. And we'll grab this. Now, here's an important thing to note. Although, this isn't so much of a big deal. So, you see, I have 2 options here. One is mail, one is cloth. Neither of them are really helpful at all, because I can't use one and the other one is worse, because it has that -1 armor on it. So, what you want to do at this point is you want to look at the sell price. Unfortunately, they sell for the same thing, the same amount of copper, but generally you want to look at quest items and see, okay, so this one sells for this much, this other one sells for this much, and that means that you can, as you can see, we want this one because it does more damage. So, that's great, we'll just equip that. And then we will visit a vendor before we leave. But yeah, if you mouse over things and see like, okay, this one, this one is better, so generally you want to go for that. But if you see ones that like you don't get any upgrades, which is perfectly possible, if you don't get any upgrades, then just see which one sells for the most gold, so you can vendor it. And by vendoring it, I mean hand it to a vendor. So as this happens, I'm just going to take a quick sip of drink, because I have been talking for a while now, as we head towards Razor Hill. It is important to note that in moments like this, when you get given a taxi, these are like a taxi that takes you from one place to another. When you get moments like this, it can be a good idea to actually consider what else you can do in the meantime, like sorting out your bags, going through your talents, maybe reading up on what you're doing next, something like that. Anything you can do to keep yourself productive while you're not doing anything, even if it involves just alt-tabbing and watching something on YouTube, like more of my videos. That was terrible, but you get my point. Just make sure you're always doing something. So during that, we happily... Whoops. Getting stuck on a cliff there. We happily got both of our rolls back, so we will just grab as many quests as we can. Now, this one meets to Orgrimmar. We probably won't do this for now. It's important to think where your quests will take you. So, although I can pretty easily go to Orgrimmar, which is far to the north, that would kind of suck. I'm just setting my Hearthstone here so that I can use it again, because it's halfway through being off cooldown, which is great. But yeah, like I said, it's important to note that going to Orgrimmar with this meets to Orgrimmar quest would give us some experience, right? But it would not give us nearly enough to finish. So I believe we can hand this one in. So we just hand this in, and then do that. And then, as you can see, it doesn't take us anywhere. So we got the free experience from handing in the quest, and now we have to ride to Orgrimmar, which we won't do yet because we don't need to. We can use that as a means to just... Oh, before I leave, I actually need to think about professions. Yeah, we can just use it as a means to quickly travel to Orgrimmar, while also having a quest to go there. So that's good. We'll just wait on that, though. So for now, we are going to go to these 2 people. Now, most of these kind of towns will have a profession trainer like this. So you want to think about... This person will teach you every single profession. They won't teach you all of the different recipes, but they'll get you started. So it's very important to figure out what you want to take. So as you can see, if you look at this, to learn more than an apprentice's skills, you'll need to visit a specialist dedicated to only one profession. So there you go. So she won't teach you everything. It's important you read this stuff, because you'll figure out stuff like this. So generally you want one gathering profession and one production profession, especially if you're starting out fresh, because gathering professions allow you to gather gold from the auction house by selling the things that you gather, especially surplus. So let's think about what professions there are available. So let's start with the production one. So we've got alchemy, which makes potions, blacksmithing that makes mail and plate, enchanting that enchants weapons and armor, engineering that creates gadgets, inscription that creates glyphs, jewel crafting that creates gems, leatherworking that creates leather and mail armor, tailoring that creates cloth armor. So let's start by saying blacksmithing is obviously out because mail and plate armor not at all useful for us. They create some weapons, but they don't really make staves or anything like that, so not all that helpful. Enchanting might be helpful, engineering might be helpful, inscription might be, as with jewel crafting. Leatherworking, obviously, we make our own armor. That's nice, but as a person who has leveled leatherworking quite recently, I will say that it's a nightmare to level up. So we want something that can really help us out right from the get-go, and that would definitely be enchanting. Now, enchanting can be quite a expensive profession, and it can also end up with some pretty terrible, terrible offshoots where you just have a whole bunch of stuff you don't need. But the only downside to enchanting is that it doesn't go with a gathering profession. So you'll see here, it says, it doesn't really see here. Tailoring items work well, but we're not going to use tailoring at all. So it might be an idea to think of something else. Alchemy might be helpful. In fact, alchemy is probably what we're going to go for. I've decided this. Because with alchemy, you can make potions like this. You can make flasks later on, which will sell on the auction house. And most importantly, it works well with the gathering profession, herbalism, which allows you to gather herbs. So there we go. We have alchemy and herbalism. So that's my pet. Here we go. K. That opens up by default your profession tab. So we will put our professions here. We only need one of them because we don't need to actually activate herb gathering. We'll actually put fishing here as well, just because we can. All right. So now that we've gathered our professions, we're going to move out and continue to quest. So as always, on the way, we are killing things constantly, keeping ourselves ahead of the curve. As you see, these guys are level 6. We are level 7. We want to keep it that way for as long as we can. You see, we just one-shot that guy. I'm not in heirlooms, and I just one-shot the guy. I mean, come on, you can see it's definitely helpful. So, as we head out, I'm just not going to kill this because I need to talk. We're going to turn off track pets and turn on find herbs. You do that by clicking on this magnifying glass over here. So we have 10 minutes left on our Hearthstone, so we won't be hearthing back. But either way, I want to let myself get distracted by these herbs because A, we need them, and B, as you will notice when you gather these herbs, like this, you gain experience. A fair amount of experience. It's not a massive amount, but it's certainly a fair amount. And as you can see, I'm looking over my minimap here to see where the next herb is over here. And I'm just going to put them up here to keep them organized. So I'm just going over here, grabbing this silver leaf. It's very helpful because, I mean, it's experience, and it's going to help you level up your professions. And if all goes to waste, you can always just either sell it on the auction house or, even worse, to a vendor. You get something out of it. And this isn't money that you're, like, buying from the auction house or anything like that. It's money being produced by the game for you. So, so that's very good. You're actually adding money into the economy of World of Warcraft. So that's great. I actually learned that from a fellow called Hobbs, who is a brilliant YouTuber. He's been around for a while. But anyway, one thing that should be noted with these kind of quests. Now, this isn't a quest where it's like you need to kill... for instance, we have to kill 6 Marines, 6 sharpshooters, and the lieutenant. Or, sorry, the lieutenant, how you say it technically. But it's very important to note that here we actually have to divert ourselves and kill as many guys as we can, because we don't just... It doesn't just say kill 12 Northwatch dudes. It actually asks us to kill specific amounts of named enemies. And a lot of the time, they'll be in certain locations. So once we actually enter the keep, which is just over there, once we actually enter that keep, we won't be... we're also looting things out here as well, which actually helps. But yes, once we enter the keep, there will not be sharpshooters in the keep. So you have to think about things like that and think, okay, once I enter this area, will this enemy that's out here actually do it? And generally, when you're on a quest that has you killing different amounts of named mobs, you're going to get... Is this a leather belt? No, it's not. Okay. You're going to have a lot of situations where the... just going to kill you. You're going to have a lot of situations where certain mobs, certain NPCs are in certain areas. So if we hadn't killed the 6 sharpshooters we needed, then we'd be going in here and we'd be like, oh, well, we can't kill any sharpshooters there because there are none in here. It's all Marines. So it's kind of important to think that, you know, if I go into this next area, will the enemies that I still need to kill be in there? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. Just finish the treasure quest there. But a lot of the time, it's no. So you need to... Generally, it's a good idea to just kill as many things as you can in an area, as long as you're not screwing over other people. So we'll head in here. Now we've aggroed 2 of them, we want to kill the thing that has less health, which is, without a doubt, the unnamed mob. This guy's pretty easy. We'll just finish him off with a tiger palm and an auto attack. Now we just looted a worn leather vest. This is actually better than what we have right now, so we want to do that. Want to equip that. Now you might think, oh come on, Tuskeh, you gain +2 armor. Is that ever going to save you? No, it will never save me. But it's very important that you get into the mindset. Also, right here, I'm taking a shortcut by going up here, because, first of all, there is an enemy here for me to kill, which means more experience. And as I jump down, there will be more enemies as well, which is awesome. Rather than just walking back through empty space and not being able to get anything done. Now, we have finished with this quest, but we're just going to kill a few things on our way out. Sticking to the old mentality of killing things as we go between areas. Now, as I said before, it's very easy to just ignore a lot of gear, even if it's only a minor upgrade. But once you get to the maximum level, a minor upgrade will be something that you celebrate eventually. Especially if you want to get into... just looking at my Hearthstone, 7 minutes. We finished that place in just under 3 minutes, which is great. But yeah, once you get into raiding, if you do intend to get into raiding, or even PvP, there'll be a point where your gear will just get to a certain point and you just won't be able to get any more. So a minor upgrade will be something you celebrate. So you might as well get into that mindset now. Not only does it prepare you for inevitable disappointment at the fact that you will slowly not be getting as many upgrades and gearing up, but additionally, it allows you to constantly stay at peak performance. And by that, I mean you're constantly able to be in the best gear that you can find. Of course, this doesn't include heirlooms because, as I have mentioned on my old daily discussions, digging level 8 there, because once again, we're killing mobs. Very important to note that. As I mentioned in the daily discussion, I'm not a big fan of heirlooms, because right now we'd probably be level 10 if we had heirlooms. At least level 10. But, like I said... Oh, bloody hell, we just one-shot that guy. Heading over towards this last herb before we reach Razor Hill again. Now... as I said, I don't agree with them because they cheapen the experience. You don't get to finish quest zones, which in my opinion is one of the worst parts, especially if you have never done the quest zone before. I have a phone call, apparently. Don't worry, I can ignore it. Okay, now we're back in Razor Hill, and the phone has stopped ringing, and we have a new quest because we're high enough level. I think we get that at level 8. That's to go off to a new area. Now, we want to consider, do we want a dual wield here, or do we want the chest? The chest is exactly the same amount as what we have at the moment. So we'll go with the blade for now. As you can see, it also sells for more, because it's a weapon. Weapons generally tend to sell for more. So we will go there. As you can see, I jumped up onto this area here. You just jump up here, and then you're completely enraged. Because as you can see, this guy's trying to get out. There's actually an invisible wall there that stops you from getting in or out of the bunker. So just little things like that to constantly get in range of NPCs and talk to them. We have enough room in our inventory that we don't need this. This is actually a DPS downgrade. It hits a little bit slower. It's not a big deal because most of our damage right now is coming from what do you call it? From abilities. So not too important as we head out here. So we're just gonna head back out here and continue questing, and we'll actually grab this guy. He's close enough that we can consider grabbing him as we head towards the next area. Just two-shotting him there because, as you can see from the our abilities is where we're getting most of our damage from, not from just white hitting. Because you see, if I go over to this guy and just auto-attack him, it's pretty hard, but not nearly as hard as, say, that, which just destroys him. So it's very important that we consider where most of our damage comes from. So we're staying with the staff right now. So we're just going to talk to this Razor Hill Grunt, which we get a quest from. Now, you may not have even known that you get a quest from that, because sometimes it's easy to just rush through it all. And there may actually be moments where I miss quests, and I'm sure you'll yell at me for it, which is perfectly fair. I definitely deserve to be yelled at if I miss quests. But generally, what you want to do when you enter each area is you want to explore. Vanilla World of Warcraft used to punish you every now and then for things like this, because you'd often end up in a high level zone. But generally, in an area like this, just take a moment to look around and see what's going on. Now, this is kind of a hidden quest. You see this guy saying, "Help me," but if you weren't paying attention, you might not have even seen him say that. So, again, another reason why a big chat log can be really helpful, because you can actually see things like that, and it can be on the screen without, being in the way. So that's good. So we will just get our Tiger Palm buff back up here. Use Berserking for this guy, and hit him a couple times. So that's good. It's all going nice and smoothly at the moment. We actually went into a little bit of a corner there, which was a little bit of a downside in terms of optimizing things. But yeah, as I said, always explore, always click on things, always make sure you see what's going on around you, because now you get to rescue these injured grunts and get a little bit more XP, which is great. So we will hit you and hit you with our Blackout Kick before we lose our buff. Now, one thing I want to note as I continue to level through here is I want to take a quick look at my abilities, even as I even as I kill things, because it's really not that hard to kill things. I'm just pressing 1, 2 over and over and over again. So, not too much of a big deal. What I want to do is I don't want to look at what I have coming, because that's not something I like doing. I don't like seeing, like, oh, I get this ability at level 10 and this ability at level 13 and all that stuff. I want to just see stuff and just enjoy it as I get it, you know? So, that's very important to me. So, we just finished this quest. Important to note, we actually missed a herb over there, so we'll go and grab that. The Burning Blade spell scrolls, as you can see, is all the way up there, so that's not a big deal. We won't be going after that. But as I said, having a look at our abilities, not so much the ones that we're using, the ones that are passives. So we're just going to go through everything. We have Blackout Kick, we recognize that. Jab, we recognize that. Roll, we recognize that. Now, Stance of the Fierce Tiger. It doesn't actually tells us this. It just says movement speed increased by 10%. That's what we're in right now, this stance. So, increase all damage dealt by 10%. Fine. Grants you and your allies within 10 yards 10% increased movement speed. Good. And improves the functionality of Jab, Expel Harm, Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick. Basically, it just makes them better. I'm pretty sure that it makes Jab generate 2 chi instead of 1, but you wouldn't know that. So that's not too much of a big deal. So that just allows us to do all that. So, Tiger Palm, we know what that does. Attacks ignore 30% of armor, deals a bit of damage, 1 chi. And Way of the Monk, here we go. The Monk modifies his combat style depending on weapon type, dealing 40% more attack damage with one-handed weapons, and attacking 40% faster with two-handed weapons. So that's really interesting to see that we adapt, and we can use either or, and it still works well. So that's all good. So we're going to continue here, up to here. So here's actually the Priest, who is actually, as you can see, he's the same level as me, and we're probably a little bit ahead of him right now, even though he seemed to be just a little bit ahead of us in terms of progress at the start. That's again because we're killing things, we're going nice and fast, we know the quests, and I think that's a big one, is know the quests, know where you're going, and hopefully this will serve as a kind of maybe a little bit of a walkthrough. I'm going really fast, like at breakneck speed. I might slow down eventually, but here's a little fun fact. Did you know that this Razor Hill Watchtower is a sanctuary? Because this is where the Rebellion headquarters was located, and you would have both Alliance and Horde here during the Battle of the Barons in patch 6.2. Is it 6.2? Or was it 6.1? I think it was 6.1. But yeah, anyway, here is an example of a quest that is a little bit... It slows us down. So what we have to do here is we have to use a spyglass 4 times. Just using it creates this little cutscene where our camera zooms in towards different areas. We get a little... I say a little, this is lasting for bloody ever. And as you can see, this is just that. And then we go through a little loading screen, and we just repeat this 4 times. Repeat it 3 times even. But yeah, it's slow. It really slows you down, unfortunately. But, and take this from my experience, if you press escape and cancel out of this cinematic, your quest objective will not complete, meaning you'll have to redo the whole cinematic all over again, which sucks. So make sure that you don't do that. Most of the time, you can get away with skipping cinematics, but believe it, more often than not, it will probably break something. So it's actually an okay idea to just look at cinematics and be like, oh yeah, look at all the pretty cinematics. Oh, there's Silverleaf over there, how helpful. We'll probably go there first as well, actually, so that's good. And we're just going to do it one more time as we go the longest way. This is taking for bloody ever, but, you know, maybe I just sound impatient. It's because I want to streamline this as much as I can to show you that you can level perfectly fine without heirlooms, and it's all going to go fine. So here is our last target.